Meeting of the City Commission will come to order, and we like to begin these things as is our tradition with a moment of silence. If you please all join us with for a moment of silence. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk, if you could call the roll.
Commissioner Belcheck,
Present.
Commissioner Perdue,
Good afternoon.
Commissioner Yasasi,
Present.
Commissioner Kilgore,
Present.
Commissioner Knight,
Present.
Commissioner Robbins,
Present.
Mayor LeGrand.
Yep. That brings us to public comment on agenda items. Anyone who wants to speak to the agenda, they're available if you want to know what's on the agenda. But if you've got something that's on the agenda that you'd like to speak to, this is your moment to come up and talk to us about it.
Mark, you want to hit the button there? Thanks.
Hello, friends. Mark from Grand Rapids. Fiscal Committee, number 5. A resolution authorizing the Grand Rapids Police Department recruit class to attend Grand Valley and Lansing Community College Police Academy at a cost not to exceed $99,258. I could care less about the funding. I want to know who are going to train these recruits. And who is going to be who's going to be in this academy. Again, I do not want to see the instructors who are associated with any hate groups whatsoever. Because that's not good. Bad culture trumps training every single time. You don't want rogue individuals roaming the streets of Grand Rapids like you do in America, like you do across the country, and be Teflon with full immunity where they won't be held accountable for their actions. So you better think about this. Because what I want to see is people who want to train these cadets the right way. Because if not, we have a problem. Because I don't want anything that's going bad in this country involving law enforcement happening here in Grand Rapids. Thank you.
Seeing no further public.
Mayor, if I may, this is, I know that some people are here for certain items that are on the agenda, so if you did plan to speak today, before we vote, now is your time. If you were just here to observe, you know, no pressure, need to speak, but I did just want to point that out for you all.
Seeing no one else, I ask.
Were you moving?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hi, my name is Tony Foster, and I'm here once again to speak about Umatilla Street. in process of the sign that we had put up for my mom, Mary Freeman, that got cut down after we got the permission to put this sign up for her. And I'm here to give the support to have her sign put back up by the city, since they was the one that cut it down after we got the permission to put it up. And this is why I'm here, to represent my family and my mother, Mary Freeman, which was a neighborhood watch person for Umatilla. And once again, before Chief Dole left, he come to sit with her every Saturday because he admired the way that she kept the street clean. So this is why I'm here, to represent my mother, Mary Freeman. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that brings us to petitions and communications. Mr. Clerk.
Communication received from Richard Wilbert regarding his resignation from the Community Relations Commission.
Referred to Committee on Appointments.
Communication received from Mirabel Fanyoy Umeni regarding her resignation from the Community Relations Commission.
Referred to Committee on Appointments.
The city clerk submitted copies of the Police and Fire Retirement System actuarial evaluation for the year ending December 31, 2024.
Received and filed.
Communication received from Zachary McGraw regarding the Lake Eastbrook area.
Received and filed.
Communication from Ken Vaughn concerning FOIA appeal hearing PD-2025-536.
Received and filed.
Communication received from Jimmy Arizola expressing support for the park name change to Unity Park and thoughts on the police department.
Received and filed.
Communication received regarding the use of tax dollars on potholes in schools.
Received and filed.
Communications received expressing support for the proposed commemorative designation street change of a portion of Umatilla Street to Amelia Penn Way.
Received and filed.
And communications received expressing opposition to the proposed commemorative designation street name change of portion of Umatilla Street to Amelia Penn Way.
Received and filed.
Communication received from Nate Ralberry, Grand Rapids Climate Coalition co-chair, including priority items pertaining to implementing a climate action and adaptation plan.
Received and filed.
Communication received from Arturo Perkrin, C4 Executive Director, listing C4's top 20 CAAP priorities.
Received and filed.
And communication received from Molly Claren, City of Grand Rapids Chief Financial Officer, with concerns about ongoing allegations of charter violations by the City Comptroller.
Received and filed. This brings us to reports of city officers.
Comptroller's warrant report for the period of May 2025 through June 30, 2025, in the amount of $116,059,636.15 in the monthly travel and small claims reports.
Received and filed.
And the treasurer's report for a period of May 28, 2025 through June 30, 2025.
Received and filed. That next brings us to our consent agenda items, and for a reminder of the public, these are items which passed out of committee unanimously, and so they are lumped together for group approval. They're listed, but also, if anything, any commissioner wanted to pull something off of consent for broader discussion, despite a unanimous vote, that's their prerogative. So I'd ask for motion to pass the consent agenda.
So moved. Support.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? This brings us to items removed from consent. The first is, and the only is, a resolution to adopt the commemorative designation of Umatilla Street, southeast from Madison to Union as Amelia Penn Way. Commissioner Yasasi?
Thank you, Mayor. Today at our Community Development Committee meeting, myself and Commissioner Perdue and Commissioner Belcheck, this item did not come up for a vote, so there was not a motion made. We held a public hearing on June 10th for this item to consider this request by Mr. Penn and Seeds of Promise to designate the block of Umatilla Street Southeast as Amelia Penn Way. There were a number of records, almost 40 owners of records of property that were mailed the information about this public hearing. Since the item was not taken up, it's obviously taken off of consent here. The discussion that myself and some of our other colleagues, including City Manager, was to recognize a way that we could really highlight the public health issue of gun violence, particularly around young people in our community. We also weighed that with the concerns that neighbors had who lived on Umatilla Street, and recognizing that throughout the city there are often a variety of makeshift, unfortunately too many. One of my cousins had one on near Hall and Division many years back. What would be a more fitting way to recognize victims of gun violence? So we talked at length. June is Gun Violence Prevention Month. We could ask the mayor to do a mayoral proclamation for that and find other ways to highlight, one, to remember people and to remember the pain that families have, and not just Mr. Penn's family, but really everyone else who has this experience, and then keep the designation of the street renaming the way that it is. So that was the decision of the committee, and we're bringing that here for all of your review and next steps. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion on this item?
Motion.
Hearing none, I will then, and thank you for the summary, Commissioner, I will move on to public hearings. The first is a public hearing for City Commission to hear appeals of the Downtown Improvement District Special Assessment Roll number 8798, and our assessor is coming up.
Mayor, just before they go into hearing, just to clarify, so then the item fell for lack of a motion and support?
Correct.
Just to let the public know?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm Paula Jastifer, I'm the city assessor, and at the request of the Downtown Improvement District Board, the assessor's office has prepared a special assessment roll 8798 in accordance with the district's plan that was adopted by the City Commission on May 9th, 2023. This is the final year of a 3-year plan. So property owners were sent notices on June 3rd, and they were notified of the assessment amount and the appeal process. The special assessment is required to be open for public inspection for at least 2 weeks, and that started June 3rd through today. In addition, we also posted a copy of the assessment roll on the city website. And we have not received any appeals as of today. So today, the City Commission convenes as the Board of Review to hear appeals on these assessments, and today's the final day to file an appeal. So I'll be here for the duration of the public hearing, and I will be available on the 3rd floor if anybody wants to file an appeal. And then once we review the appeals, we'll make a recommendation for confirmation of the special assessment roll on August 12th. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone from the public wishing to comment? This is the point.
Mayor, just one thing. Do we have the translator here? I know we got right into it.
Yep, we did. So I'm sorry, everyone, if there's anyone in the room who needs what just happened translated for them, we'll try to make that happen. But if our translator could come up and make themselves explain their role in the hearing.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Buenas tardes. Entonces, si alguien tiene algún comentario en español que necesite interpretación, por favor, déjeme saber. Con gusto le ayudo. If anyone needs interpretation in Spanish, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to assist.
Thank you. Seeing no public comment on our first hearing, that hearing is now closed. This brings us to our second public hearing to consider Brownfield Plan Amendment for the Robinson Flats redevelopment project located at 1407, 1409, and 1417 Robinson Southeast. And Ms. Renero is here to go over that for us.
Would you like a motion?
Yeah.
No motion.
No? Okay, just a hearing.
Good afternoon. I was just looking for, hi, good timing. I mean, just a second. Okay. Okay, this is a new, it's a demolition of structures and new construction of a 4-story mixed-use building in the Uptown district. This will comprise of 24 different apartments across 32,000 square feet and three commercial spaces. So if you can picture where Robinson dead ends into Lake, that's where we are focused here. All of the units will be delivered at less than 100% AMI. We've got a total of $8.2 million in total project costs and $5.9 specific to construction. The ask or the public hearing is noticing Brownfield TIF requests specifically for both traditional eligible activities with infrastructure improvements and also demo and site prep, as well as the housing potential rent loss eligible activities. I want to just call some attention to the Corridor Improvement Authority that voted intent to pass through their tax increment revenues that they collect, which this will be the second project that the city has seen do this, which is pretty exciting because CIA has first capture of those TIF dollars, and so this is a partnership between the BRA and the CIA to help spur developer investment. We've got construction starting this summer and anticipated project completion next summer. And I'd like to invite the development team up to talk, Tehran and Jess Solis. Tehran, please.
Hi, I'm Tehran, and thank you for your time this afternoon. And this project has been going on several years, and I am very excited to be in front of you today to move this project forward. And but I'd like to take for a second and thank you, the city staff, and the special thank for the Sarah and Mackenzie, and also I like to thank the Easttown Neighborhood Association, Uptown Grand Rapids, and Uptown CIA for their support. I have been working several years engaging with the community to understand and make the changes, and based on that we had made a lot of changes, such as like we had one retail on the front, and the support and suggestion was to do more on the main level facing the road, no residential, so we made that change. And also we did a brick facade, and then the planning commission recommendation to Uptown do more residential density, and we also accommodate that as well. I think that the Brownfield sport is very important to this project for long-term sustainability and success of this project. And without the neighborhood association and planning commission, and without their support, this would have been not possible. And thank you for those, and I appreciate it. And if you have any question about this project, I'll be happy to answer any question. Or if you have any technical questions about the Brownfield plans, Jess Sol is here to address those questions as well. Thank you again.
Thanks. Any questions from colleagues? Commissioner Belcheck?
Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing your experience and the changes you've made. I really appreciate the continual conversation we're having across multiple agencies and places in the city about the continual need for more density, more housing, addressing that, and trying to address the idea of affordable. What do you expect your units will rent for when you're saying that they're affordable for 90 to 80% or 90 to 100% AMI?
So we did some research prior to come up with those numbers, and we took all the rental units around the area, such as like Easttown Flats or Fulton Square and 1001 Monroe, and we came up with those numbers, and then we also met the MI as well.
Do you know what the rent, like the monthly rents will be, ish?
Right now, the projection on the pro forma is we have like 12 units of one bedrooms. They are like 1750, and 2 is 2050, and then we have a couple 3 bedrooms there, 2500. And those are 100.
What did you say the 2 bedrooms were? I'm sorry.
2050.
Okay.
And then the 2500 for the 3 bedrooms, and then they were all 100 AMI.
I always like making people say what AMI means. Like, do you know what salary range people would be in for that?
I thought it was. You got it.
She's got you covered.
I got it. No, I've got it, and I just want to, so we've got that on the memo.
Okay, apologize.
Yes, no, I don't mean it like that. But I just, I want to just make sure, so we've been, those rents update every April. So while I was attempting to update those to the 25 version, what you're seeing on that page, so it range of 70,500 up to 100,700 is actually 24 data. So.
Okay, but
I've
that would
got
be like
20
100% AMI would be 75,000 to 100.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from Commission? Otherwise, any public comments or questions? Feel free to come up to the microphone.
Tony Foster, we're back at this road about affordable living. If you consider $1,700 a month affordable living, what do a person that get only $1,500 a month, how could that be affordable living for them? That's excluding the ones that don't get enough money. So how could they label that as affordable living for who? Because it's not affordable living for me. So where do you go from there for affordable living for me? Every place that they're putting up, they calling it affordable living, but it's not affordable living. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Affordable living for who? A husband and a wife? It's not for a single person at all. And that's what I want to say. I went down this road on the 10th when they come up with another place that they said was affordable living, when it's not affordable living. So I don't know why they keep saying affordable living. Thank you.
Mark Back. Man, $2,500 a month. Ooh. Who's gonna be living in these places? Somebody with big money? I know this. Those building materials are going to come from outside the country. And with the unpredictability of the orange felon, these tariffs, it might be more than $2,500 a month. And unless you make $5-10 million a year, that's going to be priced out of the average individuals who are looking for more affordable units. So you better think about this, because that $2,500 a month for a 3-bedroom could be a little over $3,000 a month. After the tariffs are put in and everything else. So you should table this until everything done straight and accurate. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Beverly Hills units, it's going to be a problem. And people who've been living here for years are once again going to be priced out because of high market rate units and the tariffs on top of it. Thank you.
Kent County Commissioner Robert S. Womack, Grand Rapids residents, just want to thank the city for your programs for new developers. It's being really effective in the city of Grand Rapids. It's helping with affordable homes. I do agree with the community that we do have to look at what is affordable today when we look at the price of living and people not only trying to pay their rent, the high price of food, gas, everything that is going up. So I'm hoping that there is some room for negotiation, but I also know how hard it is when you're doing these developments and the banks get involved. They want to see what income you're going to be making to be able to repay back some of those loans. So at Kent County, we did start the an affordable homes loan program too, where, you know, we can give some lower rates, but also less red tape. So I know when there's a lot of banks, there's a lot of red tape. So just hoping that you can look into this a little deeper, but hoping that it does pass, because also even in that area, that price is high, but in that area, prices are higher. So it may be a little lower than what is in that area, but the community is definitely right that whenever we're working on these programs from the government level, we should probably know what the rent rates are going to be from the beginning. But still just happy that the city is doing what you're doing with new developers, and wanted to say that. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Martha Cooper. I'm City of Grand Rapids resident. I've spoken up for a long time on affordable housing. I could really, really hear what you were saying about what are we calling affordable, because that's nowhere near affordable. And this city is how many units behind? I forget, but I believe it's somewhere around 35,000. I mean, this is really bad, especially for folks that are in my bracket. I'm older and I'm on Social Security. So there isn't new housing going in. I saw recently that there was new housing funds coming from the state. I believe they were LIHTC funds for several projects in the area. They still aren't going to be low income enough. I also see what I remember was when we all voted on having extra taxes taken out of hotel rooms. And I saw recently what those funds were being used for. They were being used for making our city a carnival for the rich, the people that can afford to go to places like the amphitheater and the soccer fields and all of the fun things that you want to do to bring tourism here. This is a place to live, and we need places to live. I invite you to start using money like those hotel taxes for places to live for people like me. I've been a longtime citizen of Grand Rapids. I love this city, and I love the people that are my neighbors in this city. And I hold your feet to the fire, because something has to be done instead of these calm little meetings where nobody gets upset. And I mean, this is like people's hair is on fire and they can't find a place to live. My son was recently looking for a place to live. He's a student right now, and basic one bedroom apartments are $1,500. He's a single person. He's not even through school. There's something seriously wrong, and it's your job, all of your job, to address it.
Hello, my name is Shannon Tanis, and I'm displaced out of the First Ward. I'm an advocate, and this project stinks. It stinks like DeVos. And uncovering recently that the soccer amphitheater was developed during the time that the DeVos family was in the position of the Department of Education, and that there is COVID funds of the tune of $4 billion that have been frauded, waste, and abuse. Wouldn't it be interesting if any of that money got funneled for this project or into any of the people in the city underneath that fraud, waste, and abuse aspect? This is just another Brownfield development selective project to raise the rent, discriminate against those who are poor and disabled and disadvantaged that are already homeless. We already have incompetence issues with the city manager, the city attorney, and the mayor regarding the operations of public properties owned by the city, or the expedited manner that it needs to be dealt with regarding the McKinney-Vento Act. But I'll be addressing that in my public comment. Thank you very much.
Seeing no one else, this meeting is now closed and referred to the Committee of the Whole. That brings us to City Commission resolutions, and I would welcome.
We're going to take action on this later in the meeting, right?
Yeah, this is unique. This is unique with the canceling of the last commission meeting. It's the last commission meeting. We were trying to streamline our process a little bit here for the development team. And so typically, you're right, we schedule the public hearing at this Community Development Committee meeting, and then you guys know all the steps, right? We schedule it, we hold it, and then a separate date, we recommend approval. And so we're scheduling, or we're holding it, and we're recommending approval in the same meeting, which is unusual.
Right, and that requires a motion to suspend the rules. And I'm asking for that for 3 different actions by the commission, which are on the agenda. The first is the topic we just discussed. The second is relating to an opioid settlement, and the third relating to resources to use in a lawsuit and an ongoing litigation matter. So could I have a motion to suspend the rules?
So moved.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So first is the resolution on the hearing we just had. So do I have support?
Support.
Support.
Okay. And I don't know if there's any other discussion since we just had a good presentation. If not, then I'd ask for all in favor?
Aye. Go ahead.
All opposed?
Aye. No. I'm sorry, I got off schedule.
You're opposing?
No, I am not. I
Okay.
was trying to make a comment, but not fast enough before the vote began.
Okay. Next is our resolution authorizing participation in a partial settlement of the opioid litigation. Commissioner Robbins?
I think we need a motion first. I'll make that motion.
Right.
Support.
All right, yeah, happy to share some more information about this. The City of Grand Rapids is one of several hundred state and local plaintiffs in this federal multi-district litigation related to the opioid epidemic. This is in connection with a proposed national settlement with a defendant named Sandoz Incorporated. They're a prescription opioids manufacturer. So as part of that settlement, the City Council projects that if the City of Grand Rapids participates, we'll receive a total recovery in the form of a one-time payment of $261,659.45. And then I'll just add on at the end that those funds, as part of the settlement, are earmarked to be used for things relating to just broad treatment, prevention, and abatement purposes as a result of the damage of the opioid epidemic.
Thank you. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. A good note of, one, it is good to see that manufacturers are being held accountable, and 2, during our Commissioner Robbins and Isasi, during our CDBG process, we noted that this year there was not a significant investment in this type of treatment recovery. So this is nice that we will have some funds going towards this, as we did not see the federal investment that we were expecting or would have liked. So very happy to see this.
Any other discussion? Otherwise, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That brings us to our third item for suspended, that we suspended the rules for, and that is a city commission resolution authorizing a contract not to exceed $34,000 with Force Science for expert case evaluation and testimony in defense of a 2023 federal lawsuit in the Western District Federal Court. Can I have a motion?
So moved. Support.
Commissioner Knight?
Yes, Mayor, this is, the City of Grand Rapids Attorney's Office is seeking approval of a contract in the amount not to exceed $35,000 for expert case assessment and witness services in the matter of Hodges versus City of Grand Rapids, which is a federal lawsuit that is still in motion today.
Thank you. Any discussion? Otherwise, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, which brings us to public comments. So anyone wants to come up and address the commission on any matter, you have 3 minutes.
How y'all doing? I'm D. Jones, passionate advocate, pioneer, visionary. First off, I want to just address something. A couple days ago, my brother was jumped. It's a viral video that's going around the community of my brother getting jumped, beat unconscious outside of the DeVos's Hotel and right across the street from the Chop House. The viral video was real bad. As you see, it was 10 people. Some of the people are running. Some of the people are still kicking my brother as he's beat unconscious. And so some other people have sent the video because some of these same people that are bragging about beating my brother up and showing a better angle of them stumping my brother and beating him unconscious, people don't like to tell two sides of the story. They just like to tell one side of the story, especially sometimes when it comes to people like D. Jones. So there's another video of me having to act in self-defense because one of these people that actually jumped my brother punched me as we tried to speak to him cordially at his place. He punched me and I acted in self-defense. Yes, I don't believe in in senseless violence. I do believe in self-defense, though. The police can't be here forever.
Let me just counsel you. I'm not sure you want to talk about something that in public that you might wind up incriminating yourself. I would really recommend you be careful here.
But basically, I'm just letting y'all know that I just don't believe in senseless violence. I'm not a bully. Some people did beat my brother senseless. This video is all across the city. It's very embarrassing. And they also stole my mom's phone and they beat him in front of my mom. Just imagine as a parent, as just being helpless and 10 people jumping your mom and your police can't be there. Police couldn't rush to be there. Sometimes they can't even solve the violence and the killings without the community's help. So, I'm just asking y'all, have the same sympathy for me and my family, because I do everything that I can. Everything that I can, I give my love, my blood, my passion, my tears, my dedication and undying love and passion to this community. And you guys know that. I'm very genuine. It even hurts to even pass y'all that, to be honest, because how bad they beat my brother. He looked like a Star Trek character, for real. He was ugly. His face was all swollen with 2 IVs in his arm. So I love everybody. I don't cause no issues. I don't even bother people. People lie, but I really don't speak to people. I just really try to do what's best for the community and for my family. Just like I had the Rockefeller card. I did speak to the Rockefeller family, and I got a bunch of cool things going on around the community, but I want y'all to have the same sympathy that I give y'all and my family and the police to stop punching people and stop swinging at people and our presidents at our business associations, our community organizations. I would like to stop the violence with the police, too, because y'all need to be held accountable, just like the community needs to be held accountable. Senseless violence, and I take full responsibility for anything I've done in self-defense. Thank you.
Hello. My name is John. I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. Free Palestine. Justice for Vic and Ned. Patrick Lyoya was sold out by Dana Nessel. Patrick Lyoya was sold out by y'all. You all neglect what you are supposed to do. Rein in the police. Support the poor. Pay for my neighbor Larry's flooded basement. That's my street. I got pockets full of things to be pissed AF at all of y'all for that you're neglecting to take care of. You're pouring hundreds of thousands, hundreds of millions into a soccer stadium. You won't pay for my friend's flooded basement that your pipe broke on. Mark Washington has made more money from the city of Grand Rapids since Patrick was killed than I've made in my whole life. I have a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. I'm smart. I'm talented. I've never had a salary that was even 10% what you make, Mr. Washington. And you spend $500 of taxpayer money on VIP tickets to a fashion show. You might not realize how many hungry people could have been fed by that money. You might not know what $500 is. I'm positive Mayor LeGrand doesn't know what $500 is. There are studies that demonstrate a measurable decrease in empathy that correlates directly to an increase in your bank account. There will be a day when the rich will weep over the hordes of wealth they use to keep building wealth instead of helping the starving people. The money you believe in one day will be as worthless as toilet paper, like when one day suddenly the dollars printed by the Confederate States of America were suddenly worthless. And what does the city do? Takes a proposal from Amway, one of the least ethical, most predatory, toxic businesses in the country, to build a multi-million, $100 million stadium. To build Amway a giant billboard, it's unethical. It's disgusting. If any of you were people of conscience, you would be as clear as I am on the record that Amway is abusive. You cannot serve both God and money. David LeGrand is the poster child of trying to serve God and money. Victor and Ned lead the Boston Square Neighborhood Association. They were filming police pointing guns at some young black men. Vic and Ned were doing the right thing. Vic and Ned are also the most friendly, visible, neighborly, good guys around. Vic and Ned aren't bad guys, they're good guys. The police caused the violence, wrongly arrested Vic and Ned, wrongly charged them. Both the chief of the police and the mayor think it's good police work. Within days, the mayor called Chief Wiggum the best police chief in the country. So you think it's fine for Ned to be treated like a dog, basically. That's what I'm getting. So the mayor stands with the police, with the DeVosses, with Amway, with money, with Mammon, and does not with the people who plead to him. Now, I'm a money abolitionist, to be honest. I don't believe in money. I don't believe in the GRPD, I don't believe in the police department, I don't believe in the United States of America, and I'm disgusted that you pledge allegiance to a flag. Hate cannot cast out hate. Ooh, only love can do that. Justice for Patrick, Samuel, Riley, Joey, and Hank. Free Palestine.
Hi, my name is Terry Freeman Battle, and I'm here on the Umatilla case, and thank you for your decision. But another thing I want to say that I didn't get a chance to say the last time I was here. Me, myself, I always have been not a truster of the police department. But I'm going to tell you, the chief of police we have now has taken my heart. He's a wonderful, beautiful guy. And I think he's doing a fantastic job. And I don't think he mind. They say you find the right and the wrong in the city, then you find the right and the wrong in the police department. And I think he's standing his ground on both of them. And I hope he continue to do what he's doing and continue to make my heart feel like I can trust in him that he's doing the right thing. And God bless him on what he's doing. And Chief, I just want to thank you if nobody else do.
My name is Martha Cooper, citizen, Grand Rapids, Michigan. I actually came today because I disagree with my neighbor who just came up. She's quite thrilled with the way that the police department is being handled. I came up to express my concern about what happened in the neighborhood when Vic and Ned Andre were walking the neighborhood to let people know in their neighborhood that there was going to be a free trash day. So they were out being good stewards of their neighborhood. And all of a sudden, there's an incident where they're filming the police. I may not have everything, but they're filming the police. Excuse me, please. That's not supposed to happen, but it is. Anyway, and so it escalated to throwing people on the ground and charges of assault on a police officer. That should not have happened. There should be better training than to have results like that, considering who these men are and what their commitment to their neighborhood is. We talk about how things are good and that there's trust in the police department, but we just had a police officer shoot a man in the back of the head. And it was found, it was a hung jury. There was no innocence or guilt. It was just a hung jury. And nobody was prosecuted and no accountability for shooting a man in the back of the head. And you wonder why people want to get out their cameras. It's because they don't trust the police. And there's reason not to trust the police. And when we don't have that, we could have Ned having to go to the hospital and could have been permanently harmed by police sitting on his chest. I have no idea why it is that you guys can't respectfully detain someone without using violence to do so. That it just makes everything worse. All of a sudden, you're not having your meeting because maybe somebody's going to come up and ask you to make it a sanctuary city. Or maybe somebody has some feelings about watching what happened to Ned and his brother. And our community leaders should not have to go to this. I would like it, David, if you would make eye contact. I'm up here speaking. This is your city. You're in charge. And I'd like to feel like you were hearing me, because this is critical. It isn't just about whether you like me. It's about that the city needs to have trust in its police department, and that citizens that are out there tromping around trying to do the right thing by their neighbors don't wind up in a hospital.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, Ivan Diaz. I stay on the south side. Shameless plug, candidate for 29th District in the Michigan State Senate. Vote Ivan Diaz for more info. I wanted to talk to you all about a couple of things today. First of all, I'd like to thank Commissioner Isasi and Commissioner Knight for using your platforms to call attention to the thugs who are kidnapping people off of our streets. I witnessed it with my own two eyes about a month or so ago, and so I really appreciate you taking the time to use your platforms to do that. Second of all, I would like you all to act with a little bit more haste when it comes to our climate adaptation plan. For whatever reason, I really don't, looking from the outside in, I don't understand why it keeps getting pushed off. We, for the last 2 days, just saw all of this wildfire smoke from wildfires in Canada. Things are only going to continue to get worse, and frankly, we don't have time to waste. And so the quicker we can move on this stuff, the better off we all will be. I would also like to say that given the fact that I'm running for office, I know some of the numbers for Grand Rapids in our area. I know that most households make less than $70,000 a year. And so when you're asking for people to pay $2,000 a month for rent, that's not good enough. And I know that we need housing at all price points, but frankly, I see a lot more investment and urgency in these higher range units than the lower range units. And that's really what we need the public entity to be focused on. The private sector is going to do what the private sector does. We need you all to work for us and focus on the lower sector or the lower income people who need these housing units. And then the biggest thing that made me come in today is that I am calling for charges to be dropped. Charges against Ned Andre and Victor Williams. I myself have been a victim of police violence or aggression. I was pepper sprayed in the face for doing nothing more than recording the police about a month or two ago. In my view, what I saw in that video was somebody going like this to remove the hands of a police officer who were on them, and a police officer immediately go in to swing on them. So what does that say to me? It says that we have police officers, not all of them, but a good majority of them, or a good amount of them, who feel like they can do whatever they want. And if somebody questions them, if somebody removes their hands off of their body, their first instinct is to use violence, and that's not okay. As Martha said, we saw a police officer get away with murder in our city. And so it's not on the community to build that trust with law enforcement, it's on law enforcement and on you all as the oversight of that law enforcement body to help build that trust. And so, again, I'm looking forward to seeing you all in community, and more importantly, I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more urgency and a little bit more haste. I'm moving forward with some reforms that we all know are deeply needed. Thank you.
Mark back again. Caroline Levitt, you are being prostituted by the orange felon. He's acting like a pimp. You're so smitten for him, and he's using you. You're too young to be press secretary. If I was you, I'd get out while I can. Because if you do the wrong thing, he'll chew you up and spit you out and kick you to the curb. He did it before, he'll do it again, and he'll continue to do it again. That's his MO. It's been his MO ever since he inherited money from his father. Now he's running rampant and allowing individuals in his administration to do whatever they want. ICE agents going on in LA messing with children playing soccer, and there they are, and they're the Dudley Do-Rights out there running them off the soccer fields. That's not good. And don't get me started on Alligator Auschwitz, where there's no kind of infrastructure, no plumbing, rancid food, and everything else. And the border czar comes to the Turning Point USA conference talking like Charlie Brown's teacher, not understanding not a word he ain't saying. But then again, this is who y'all wanted. Y'all put him there. It's your fault. And that big ugly bill is doing exactly what it was drawn up to do. The working class and the poor are making Miami Vice wages in the 21st century cost of living. And the 83 billionaires are making out like bandits every single time. Oh, and by the way, the DeVos family is probably a little bit less poor after they signed Paolo Banchero to that Supermax deal. Boycott Tesla.
Like sunshine and rain. I got a story to tell today, but I'll start with the sunshine. I'm Commissioner Robert S. Womack, Grand Rapids citizen. First off, I want to thank our city manager for helping institute the youth program as soon as he came in, that has taken a lot of the heat off the police on how they were dealing with our youth. And that's what happens with policy. It helps the community and the police get by one issue. But after that, there's a lot more that we need to do. I want to thank the mayor for his Mayor Mondays, where he has the police chief, myself and others addressing some of these police issues. So a great thing happening. We probably need to broadcast it more so we can get more people to come to that. I want to thank the chief for the RPAC meeting he was at yesterday and a lot of other meetings he's been coming to. And that is why there's a lot of people in our community that do support the chief. But at the same time, we know that these issues were here before the chief and they're going to be here after the chief unless we come together and do something, as was mentioned earlier, with urgency. Also like to thank the commissioners that did reach out to get more information about the Ned, Andres, and Victor Williams situation. We are asking that charges be dropped against Ned Andre and Victor Williams because the paperwork says City of Grand Rapids versus Victor Williams and Ned Andres. We believe that this would destroy the Boston Neighborhood Association, what they've been building for the last 4 or 5 years. We also believe that they have the right to ask questions. Me being in different homes growing up, in my biological parents' house, whenever they asked African Americans, went out and asked about an issue, they were told, get back or you'll be arrested. That's how they were talked to. When I was in white families through different care systems, and they went out and asked, the police would tell them, even if it was 5 blocks away, even if it didn't concern their families, oh, this is exactly what's happening, and come back and get coffee later. As mentioned before, Victor Williams, president of Boston Association, told a police officer not to touch me. The police officer then decided to push his hand into his chest. Victor went to move his hand, and the police believed that gave him a right to hit Victor in the mouth. We're also asking that misdemeanors such as not obeying a police officer, those misdemeanors should be ticketed, because a lot of police officers do use that to mess with you, treat you inhumane, talk to you like a dog, know you're not going to comply when you're being talked to like an animal, and then they say they got the right to arrest you. It's dangerous. Police officers are getting hurt around the country. People are getting killed as it evolves to a bigger situation. So those are some of the things we're asking, and also hoping that a task force with city and community members can be put together to look at policy, training, and de-escalation training for police. But number one, we want all charges dropped, or we will meet you all in court in numbers. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor LeGrand, commissioners. My name is Brian Cody, and I'm here to make a statement in regards to a letter that I'd like to submit regarding short-term rentals in the city of Grand Rapids. In 2024 alone, short-term rentals identified by stays lasting 1 to 29 nights in duration supported 281 local jobs and generated $21.7 million in economic activity, including $5.7 million in tax revenue for Grand Rapids. That's income from hosts, guest spending, and labor for local services like cleaning and maintenance. However, due to an overly strict zoning ordinance, a majority of this is happening outside of the city's licensing structure. Over 500 short-term rentals listings exist in the city of Grand Rapids on Airbnb, and only about 3 dozen are licensed properly. When the City Commission approved the current ordinance back in 2014, it committed to reviewing the policy after 10 years. Concerns about noise, crime, parties, and parking, the original fears driving the 2014 ordinance, have not become a reality. Discussions with local police and fire departments confirm that short-term rentals have not caused significant issues. It has been 11 years since, and it is now time for a review. Our suggestions, outlined in the longer letter submitted, focus on aligning with the new community master plan, improving financial opportunity for all Grand Rapids residents, lowering risk to city services while increasing city revenues, and assisting with the current housing shortage. Times have changed, and so has the American dream. According to the new community master plan, today's residents are prioritizing affordability, flexibility, and quality of life. Homeowners want to remain in their homes, support multi-generational living, keep up with taxes and maintenance, and still have the time and resources to travel or enjoy personal pursuits. Short-term rentals help make that possible. Among other uses, short-term rentals are an ideal first step for new residents in our community as they explore permanent options within neighborhoods. They allow families to travel more comfortably and experience our great city. And for some, could provide the financial support needed to convert old carriage houses or vacant spaces, whether long or short-term, leading to more housing units that we obviously desperately need. Short-term rentals are not a threat, they're an opportunity. They support local jobs, boost tourism, offer flexible income for residents, and contribute millions in economic impact and tax revenue. Grand Rapids can no longer afford to ignore this reality. It's time to revisit, and most importantly, revise the outdated 2014 short-term rental zoning ordinance. We must adopt policies that are fair, inclusive, and forward-thinking. Policies that align with the evolving needs of our community and support residents in achieving their version of success. Thank you. Can I submit this?
You can submit it to me. I think I already have a copy.
Yes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, commissioners and mayor and city manager and city attorney. My name is Wesley Watson, resident of the 3rd Ward. As many of my colleagues have came here today, I support the charges being dropped against Victor Williams and Ned Andre. As a board member of C4, Community Collaboration on Climate Change, as a board member of the Grand Rapids Climate Coalition, as a board and as an organization of both organizations, we both support the dropping of the charges for both Victor Williams and Ned Andre. And speaking in my personal capacity, the police chief has mentioned a lot around building community trust, and this is not my first time up here, and this is not the first time we have had this conversation. This is not the first time we have had this conversation with a police chief. I've had numerous conversations with different police chiefs around this issue. We go back to Chief Rahinsky, go back to Chief Payne. We go back when we had a task force, 21st Century Policing, Community Policing Task Force. And this conversation has been brought up many, many times over the last 10 years. And it seems like we continue to have this conversation. The conversation was brought up around Honesty Hodges' situation. And the conversation continues to be brought up. The conversation continued to be brought up when the NAACP brought the conversation up around community policing and what to do with the policy. We make progress on certain things, but we take 5 steps backwards. What are we going to do? What are we going to do as a city to make the situations move forward in the positive direction? I come from a family of police officers. My dad was a police officer in Little Rock, Arkansas, and in Muskegon. During that time, I grew up in the 90s in Little Rock. During that time of very, very tough heightened gang violence. If you're not familiar with Little Rock, during that time, Little Rock was the murder capital of the country. HBO did a special called Banking in the Rock in 1994. In 1994, we had a very heightened crime and gang violence in that time. During that time, they actually implemented community policing, worked with community leaders, worked with actually gang leaders to implement community policing. When are we as a city going to actually work with community leaders to implement community policing? Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sini Gant Jordan. I am a resident here in the city of Grand Rapids. I would like to speak about culture change in policing here in the city of Grand Rapids. It is definitely past due. for Ned's situation and Vic's situation, some of my community partners, to have to deal with the situation that is at hand with them, that's a problem. That should have never happened. The approach should have been totally different. I thought we were working on this. Me, as an invested community member, a taxpayer here, I see a lot of work that could have been done differently. And a lot of us have seen that. We come together as community members and work on these things. We ask our commissioners, we ask our city officials to come and participate. A lot of them do. Thank you for those of you who come out and support the work and hearing our voice and vision of how we move this community forward as a unit. I appreciate that. But there's a lot of work in policing that needs to be done. And I'm going to say, clearly, I'm one that's dealing with an issue with just the way the police came into my house and tore it up. And yes, I will be pressing charges. Yes, I will. I am a community member, a business owner. I'm a third generation here. Things have not changed. They've only gotten worse. And so what I am asking is that we look at what we're really dealing with before it gets worse. I'm one that interviewed the chief. He was my pick. Why? One of the things that he talked about was how he changed the culture in Chicago, where he came from, right? And I just thought he would, I'm like, that's what we need. He did things differently, but he's not implementing them here. Nothing that we see. I'm asking that the charges be dropped against Ned and Vic, and that all of us really stand back and take a look at observe what really happened. Also, I would like to say that I am one that has served on the Corridor Improvement Authority for Division in Granville since 2015. I have been putting in applications for other roles. Why is that? I'm still on that board. What's up with that? I'm running committees. I think I'm the only committee that's really active right now. And what happened to, what happened to the rest? I'm not sure. But again, I'm putting in applications for other roles. What's the holdup? I've done my thing. I'm doing my thing in the role. I don't believe you want to see things move forward. Also, I want to speak to about the cap. In our third ward, in our first ward, in part of the third ward, which is our corridor is in, that cap would help support some of the work that we're doing and the things that should have been done way back in 2015 when we first came together. So I would like to see that passed as well. Thank you.
Hello, Shannon Tanis, displaced from the First Ward. First, I sent a letter of intent to this body. And City Clerk, I don't understand why it's not in the minutes as received communications. I've sent communications to your office, and it's been documented before in agenda minutes. But why is this one not, is my question. Secondly, the letter of intent that needs to be addressed is regarding Grand Rapids Public School buildings of the Stocking Elementary and Alexander location. I was asked regarding a special land zoning issue with Matthew House to look at the Stocking Elementary property for a possible relocation. Upon my investigation, it became evident to me that the city of Grand Rapids actually owns these buildings and they're under exempt status, which is in violation of the revised school code of 380.1141, the exception and liability of taxes regarding properties under exempt status. They're not allowed to be vacant. You're not allowed to be collecting taxes or funding for operations of buildings that aren't supposed to be aren't doing anything. Secondly, it falls under the city manager's responsibility of all real estate property of the city. Secondly, when I go to investigate the deeds of these properties, you can't find them by their address or their parcel number. When you go to the BSA, the city assessor's website, it states that the Grand Rapids Public School District owns them. I have the president, Alan Vanderberg, looking into the matter of the discrepancy between the city clerk deeds and the BSA, because as a loss prevention and risk management, this is highly concerning that people can hide information like this. Secondly, we have 575 families that are Grand Rapids Public School families that are registered as homeless on the McKinto-Vento Act. The GSA federal process for this to afford homelessness, the expedited and emergency need addressing that it needs to be, it's supposed to be done within the first 30 days that a building's up for deciding what is going to be done to it. I asked the city and other bodies in that letter of intent to sign to secure to avoid further legal action, but it's looking at non-engagement from the city manager's office, the city attorney, or the mayor, which his coffee Mondays that I just had with him was just grossly incompetent, and he's disrespectful to the citizens to all get out. And I suggest a special question to recall him because apparently he doesn't understand how to address these issues.
Seeing no further public comment, Commissioner Kilgore?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you everyone for coming this afternoon and sharing your concerns. And I'm hopeful. There were some things that I saw online. One of the cancellation of our last meeting. I just want to make clear here that I can speak for myself. I'm not running away from meeting with the public. So our last meeting, we didn't have a lot on the agenda. It was not because folks were organizing for Sanctuary City or anything like that. That has been a practice that this commission has done. If there's not a lot to use staff time and things, it wouldn't be effective time-wise. So that was for that. And even today, there was a misconception that we moved this meeting to 2 p.m. to circumvent hearing folks' feedback on police relations. Not true. We always have a 2 p.m. meeting in the month and a 7 p.m. meeting. I'm always here to talk and connect, and these are going to be continued conversations. And where I know I can speak for myself, and I believe the commission, that we are open to hearing your feedback and working side by side with you all to talk about some of these very challenging issues, such as the climate plan. So we know that we decided something today, but there's still refinement, there's still edits and things staff-wise that are going to be made. So it's not a pass it, done, put it on a shelf. There's still work to be done there, as staff noted today in next steps. And as someone who sits on the Public Safety Committee, I'm looking forward to, we didn't have that today, as that is our common practice. It'll be at the next meeting, so on the 29th, and that's Commission Night Out. So that's, we're going to talk about garbage, recycling, waste, and more, our proposed single hauler and things like that. But we also will have, during the earlier portion of the afternoon, we'll have our Public Safety Committee, where you can always come. And there's lots of things posed to both of the chiefs, fire chief, police chief, about best practices. So that's a good place to stay up to date on what we're doing in terms of police relations and best practices. So would encourage you all to check that out. And thank you again for coming. And once again, the theme that I'm trying to express here is we are open to having these conversations and certainly not running from them. And it's challenging as it is. I'm always not here to tone police. As challenging as it is, we're here for you. And thank you again for sharing your concerns.
Commissioner Knight? Commissioner Knight? No. Commissioner Robbins?
I'm all good too. Just hope you all enjoyed the last couple weeks of a little bit of a summer break, and looking forward to see you all for Commission Night Out in a couple weeks. Thanks.
Commissioner Sassi?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Just wanted to say thank you again for those that came. I know we had the item on community development regarding there was true street namings, but I just wanted to reiterate, taking into feedback those that lived on the street, but also taking into fact how can we have a both and. So thank you for those that did sign in support and those who had concerns. I think that is the power of that, and hearing these things out. So I want to say thank you to that. Thank you, Commissioner Kilgore, for sharing those things. I too, after last meeting, as I am scrolling, seeing different pieces, and I know there was a couple things online. So we've already reached out to a couple organizations that maybe are bringing groups for the 29th meeting to make sure they know that's a Commission Night Out meeting, which I'm sure you'll talk about. And then I think the last thing that I'll say is there, continues to be
a number of activities this summer that our special events team may sponsor in part or highlighting. So some of the ones that we'll see in the next couple of weeks will be Glimpse of Africa's festival that will happen here over a 3-day period, and just continuing to support, looking for ways to continue to support our immigrant and refugee communities. Thank you.
Commissioner Perdue.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. It's lovely seeing many of your faces and certainly hearing your voices. A few things I want to address. So the first is the renaming or the proposed renaming of the street. What's been really clear to me in the last month is that this community needs an avenue to honor our loved ones and to honor the lives that we've lost tragically. And so, you know, every June is Gun Violence Prevention Month, and it's my recommendation that we take time every single June to recognize that and to honor and bring together families in this community. And so while that particular renaming didn't go forward today, I am hopeful that we can actually dream together and work on something even bigger and meaningful to bring everyone together around that really important issue. Also, what it showed me is how much rich history but also tragedy that exists throughout our city, right? And on every single street and on every single block, there's so many stories to tell. And I think with this particular proposal, it was made even more complicated at that street already having been attempted to be named and having signage up, so on and so forth. So while a disappointing outcome for some, I am hopeful that we can work together for something together to honor the lives that we love and honor the lives that we've lost. Secondly, a lot of you talked today about trust, community trust, police and community trust, and I am not surprised that there's tension there and that there's not full trust. And you're right, it is not on community to build that trust. It is a collective effort. I do want to say this, you know, as incidents happen in community, particularly if there are open investigations, we are strongly encouraged not to comment, because we would never want a situation where our comments can sway a legal outcome, right? Good, bad, otherwise. However, I think that standard is really important, and I want to share with you all publicly that I think that there were city representatives speaking on incidences, particularly the one in Boston Square that came up today, that felt premature before there was a formal investigation done. As a city, if our process is we wait until the investigation happens and then we get the outcome and we respond to it, I expect that to happen in every single case. And so I want to let you all know that I was extremely disappointed to see, in my opinion, some really strong language being shared on the case from city leadership before the investigation started, was finished, to have a more robust and grounding conversation. So I do want to share that. That is something that I've raised with city manager. That is something that I've raised with my colleagues, and really am hoping to see consistency across the board as it comes to our standards and how we engage with the public around active investigations and active conversations. So I hope that makes sense. If you'd like more clarification, I'm happy to do so. But again, I'm speaking on the incidents in Boston Square. And then thirdly, I just want to bring up the cap. I am happy to say that after a few months of delay, majority opinion today got us to that cap will come before us in August for consideration for adoption. So we will vote on it. And so I know a lot of people have worked hard on this. I feel very confident about the level of community engagement. I see a lot of our climate and sustainability leaders behind this, wanting us to adopt, not wanting us to slow down. And so I'm happy to have been with you from the beginning on that, and so happy that today we got to majority opinion that we will be able to formally consider adoption next month. So that's all I have for today. I look forward to seeing you all out soon. Commission Night Out is later this month, but let me just give you something about Commission Night Out. It sounds like it's commission focused, but it's really not. Commission Night Out, yes, we have our business meeting, but before that, there's dinner. We feed you. It's always really good choices, okay? It's not like cold sandwiches or anything. It's good choices. But it's like the one time a year every single department in the city comes out. So You want to talk to someone about trash, about your yard, about anything and everything, every single city department is on site. And so it really is an opportunity for you all to get engaged, sure, with the commission, but really with the city staff that are working day in and day out providing services for you all. And so call it commission night out, call it community night out, call it city hall night out. I hope you all come, get some good food, engage with the city departments, and if you want, talk to us as always too. But it really is a really great opportunity to come together and engage in a different way. So thank you.
I get the privilege of being the last one today. Thank you. I reiterate many of the things I've just heard my colleagues say, so I won't bore you to death, hopefully, with that. But I really, in the last month, have just had a broader and deeper experience with the city, even though I've lived here for like 30 years. And I just really, really enjoyed the 4th of July celebrations. I enjoyed the camaraderie, the community. I've enjoyed many of the festivals. And it's not just that I'm enjoying, it's that I got to see community in action. I got to see people doing things to try to make their neighborhoods better. I get to see people coming together to try to understand people who are different than them. And I really am watching and paying attention and diving deep with people on a personal level on a lot of these issues that were brought up today. And so I know it's hard to see all the work that's being done when it's just up here, but there's a lot of stuff happening in our city to make our neighborhoods better, to make our trust grow. And I know it's a long, long journey. We probably have so much work to do because we've got to cross over lines that don't normally get crossed over, and we've got to be connected with one another. And we probably need to do that in a lot of different, more innovative ways. I will have a question here in a minute for perhaps our city manager to address, but I think that, the comments that I've heard about the last meeting, I too was going to bring that up because I've had some people call me directly and other things, and I want to help people understand that, at least from my perspective, I'm really here to help pull back the curtain on what is going on. And I can't do that if there's mistrust. And you have to be willing to ask the questions and not jump to conspiratorial thinking. And I know that's really hard in our environment these days, but I'm learning, and I'm happy to learn along with you, but the last meeting really was canceled because of a recommendation from the city manager that there wouldn't be enough on the agenda. And it is a traditional thing that can happen. So I'm really glad that my colleague spoke about that to launch this conversation. But the conversations I heard from people, I think it ties into this trust conversation. There's this immediate thought that we're out to get you, that the city is this other entity. And I've been saying for 6 months or not, whatever now, that we are Grand Rapids. And I know it's hard to experience that and feel that, but it's a yes and. It's a yes and. There's some parts that maybe it hasn't been that way, and we do need to do our due diligence, but I find it challenging to listen and not be able to respond to everything directly in the moment. But I want to say a lot of thank you to the staff who've worked very, very hard on the climate action plan. I want to say thank you to our community partners, C4 and GR Climate Group. This is an issue that is near and dear to my heart, and as is all sustainability. I've been very focused on the resiliency aspect of what our city could be in the future. That includes the housing and the kind of housing we're having and the kind of buildings we're building. I've had the opportunity to give some ideas and feedback to the Sustainability Office, and they have been incredibly generous to consider the ideas. And I really feel like any of the conversation that has been happening has been included and changed. So I'm really ready and happy to be moving forward to whatever it looks like on that issue. I like the idea that was brought up today about resiliency hubs, especially. I think that that is something that should be included in our priorities. So we definitely need to talk to each other. July 26th, I'm going to be out in community and available at Lincoln Park with the J-Band Swan Neighborhood Association for a commissioner coffee hour at noon. It's a Saturday. Come down to the park and we can hang out, and you can grill me, or we can just enjoy each other's company. And hopefully we can rebuild that trust. On the housing front, my question for city manager is, well, first let me just say that I heard some of you say today, who is this housing for? This housing, the developer was very clear. This housing is for people who are at 100% AMI, which is roughly 75,000 to 100,000 for a family of 4, I would guess is what he was saying. But I don't know that specific. And so the questions are good. And I think we know that there is a huge need for housing in the 60% AMI, the lower than that, the people who feel like, you know, like my family typically didn't make more than 50,000. We have to be building housing, but we have to be creative about those solutions. And so the emerging developers, but also funding is going to be important, and we don't know what that looks like yet. So when it comes to short-term rental and the comments that were mentioned, my question for the city manager is, where are we going? Will we be doing a review on the ordinance anytime soon, or what would be the next steps?
Thank you, Commissioner. So you're done, Commissioner Bocek. Thank you all for coming, and yes, I want to, briefly echo some of my colleagues' comments. Certainly appreciate our continued engagement and discussion about environmental action in the city. I think it's a really important conversation, and those of you in the room who have worked on that, thank you. The issue of gun violence is a really troubling one in our community, and I do think that I will just throw out, we have memorial plaques all over this country for people who die in wars. I certainly think I would welcome a conversation about a public memorial like that for people who die of gun violence, because if we don't look the issue in the face and we're not honest about it, I don't think we can hope to improve. And I don't think it's going to be something, particularly this body can't pass ordinances. There are federal preemptions. We can't stop people open carrying assault rifles out in the community. That's the country we're living in. And so raising consciousness of the cost of living in a community that's that embedded with guns is, I think, really important. And so I welcome that conversation. And that brings me to my last point, which is I've said this before, I will say it again. I'm glad that I'm enjoying the engagement we have at our Mayor's Mondays meetings, because those are conversations, and there are conversations around some of these thematic important issues, and I'm not going to stop doing them as long as people keep coming and are willing to talk. And at those meetings, I always say, saying things are terrible is not the best way to approach something you want to have be better. It's much better to have instantiated ideas for how things can be better, what we can do, and I hope that we can have a culture where we think about improvement. And one of the things that I say about cultural change and cultural improvement is that it is often frustratingly hard. We have been working at dealing with the embedded legacy of racism in this country for longer than my entire life, and we are not even approximately done. That doesn't mean we should despair, and it doesn't mean that we should not remember and cherish the possibility of making real progress. But that means often my instinct then is to think how can we do this specifically? And so I am committed to all of you that I, and I think we, are committed to always asking how we can do policing better, how we can do justice better in this city, and how can we improve the cultural issues that interact with that. Now, I also say, when you have a city, you have to deal with the problem of public order. So this is not a conversation that is ever going to end. We're not going to find a solution or a resolution to the question of how human beings can best get along together. We can do better. We can do better tomorrow than we did yesterday, and we can have new ideas, and we can test those new ideas, and we can work towards solutions. And I will just tell you, I'll share that one of our audience members actually, to me, reminded me of the power and the possibility of restorative practices, and in a conversation I had with him about justice and policing, and the possibility of progress often comes when people feel safe, when they feel like they're able to be heard, when they feel like we're focusing on the possibility of progress. But it's also very, very important to create safe spaces where we can have these conversations. And that's not easy, but I think we all have to be committed to continue to not just have these conversations, but to focus on having them in a way that's going to get us to where we want to go. So I'm committed to that. I know my colleagues are committed to that. So thank you, and let's go keep doing the work. Thank you all for being here. Oh, I'm sorry. I went out of order. I get so excited. All my colleagues were saying good stuff, and I forgot. There's this weird gap, everyone, between when everybody else talks on commission, and then I ask what I'm going to ask now, and then when I say my thing. So, City Attorney, do you have anything to say?
First this time, okay.
And before she does that, I want to say our City Attorney is retiring. She is awesome. We are sad. Thank you for your service. Now, is there anything you want to say?
Well, let me first say thank you for that. I appreciate it. It's been an exciting and interesting journey for 23 years. And so thank you. Comments, just a couple. Commissioner Perdue got ahead of me on this one, but I still would like to comment on it. Anytime there are charges written and they're in the court, which is where these charges that you talked about today, they're already in the court. The commission cannot mandate that those charges be dropped. For them to interfere with that would be looked at as an obstruction of justice. So I didn't want anyone to walk away thinking that that's a possibility. It's not a possibility. They can mandate it, but it's going to be more problematic, and it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. So everyone's clear on that. It's in the court. The courts are set up to let justice prevail, and that's what we hope will happen, and that's. Second, related to a media interview yesterday with the City Comptroller, Max Franz, I have no interest in going tit for tat on all of the misinformation, but there's a couple of points that I did want to bring up. One is that issuing and signing of checks, that process that they talked about in the media is a process that we have had for decades. That did not change when we transferred staff from the comptroller's office to the financial services. So I don't want people to have that implication as misinformation. The second one that I think is important to know is that the staff that was transferred, they're still doing the same body of work. That work has not changed. And the comptroller's department still has access to records and staff to be able to do the work that they've been mandated to do by charter. And so when I watched that interview, to be honest, I was slightly irritated because I don't want people to have misinformation. And so from this point forward, it's my hope that people can put aside their personal feelings and their vindictiveness and start to have all of the departments working together so that we can do our best work for this organization, for our employees, and for the community. And so that's it for me, and thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk.
Yeah, a couple things on my behalf. So in the last few months, we went through the process of doing reapportionment, redistricting, reprecincting. We had a well-rounded conversation on that, but cards did, information cards did go out in the mail. We did not get a lot of calls. Most of the calls were like, can I still vote absentee? Even, yes, you can still vote absentee if you're on the permanent list. You are still eligible to vote by absentee. So that was kind of the main questions we got. It also gave us a chance when all those cards were returned for not being able to forward to clean up our voter list and our voter rolls. As far as Commission Night Out, that, as everybody has said, it is in 2 weeks on the 29th at Gerald Ford Academic Center, which is at the corner of Madison and Martin Luther King. Doors will open about 5 o'clock. Dinner is at 5:30. In that 5 to 5:30 time, there'll be a time of engagement, of talking to commissioners, talking to staff, talking amongst ourselves as community, and then the city commission meeting will begin at 7 o'clock p.m. So that's kind of the flow for that evening. As far as the meeting, the last meeting that was canceled, we went through. This isn't the first year that this has happened. This is kind of a role that has happened, I think, over the last 3 years, where we've got into this, where the commission has met four or five meetings of Tuesdays in a row, working on the annual budget. So with the manager introducing the financial plan, and then the commission doing the work of hearing reports, giving their input, working through that. So meeting 5 weeks in a row, and then we're getting towards the end of our fiscal year as we're getting into June, and so that first meeting in June gets really front loaded with all the end of the fiscal year items, and so that was the reason why. So a staff recommendation with that was done before, but the announcement of the canceled meeting comes out on Friday with the normal cycle of giving out the information. So that's the purpose for the cancellation of the meeting, was a staff recommendation along with letting the city commission know of that. Kind of that thing, but that's not just of this year. This has been kind of the progress over the last 2 or 3 years, how those cycles of meetings have gone. That's it.
Thank you. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, City Clerk, for that clarification. And I think we actually announced it the week before at the close of the meeting that we would not have agenda items to cancel, so I appreciate that. I want to thank the staff, as usual, for all the work preparing for this meeting and what you do day in, day out, as this city runs 365, 24/7, and this is only a small representation of the many people that work real hard for this community. I want to also echo my congratulations to my colleague, City Attorney Hitchcock, on her retirement, and also acknowledge Eric Freeman, Deputy Chief, Fire Department, who also both were historic hires for the city. First African-American city attorney, first highest ranking personnel in the fire department, African-American. So congratulations to both of you on your retirement. Just a few highlights around a lot of activation this summer. You've seen Calder Plaza activated almost every week. And we've also are activating neighborhoods, things that are happening in Boston Square, as well as Belknap. We've just had the Beer City Pickleball Festival. We have the Jazz Fest this past week at Rosa Parks Circle. We have the Upheaval event coming up. The Commissioner Sassi mentioned Glimpse of Africa, the Hispanic Festival. So lots of summer activation in our city. I've heard some of the concerns around policing, and as you will know, this is something we work year-round. It's been a top priority in terms of public safety of mine. Of course, the police chief eats and sleeps it all the time. And we're going to continue to get better at it. We're going to talk about some of the things related to public safety on the 29th. I encourage you to come to Public Safety Committee. It hadn't been formally posted yet, but I believe it'll be around 12:30 or so. The police chief will talk about efforts and initiatives that he's engaged in since 2022. And we'll also hear about, I heard a lot of discussion around training. The Office of Public Accountability will talk about not just police training, but community-informed training, where citizens are contributing to curriculum and even perspectives of the officers, as well as there's some future policy issues that we are going to work on. I'm sure with the commission, need to focus on what other areas of law enforcement doesn't require necessarily criminal enforcement by the police department, and they're evaluating that now. I believe the mayor started, or had Bloomberg intern start some earlier work on that. And so there are a lot of good conversations that will continue to make our department and our police better and our community safer. And of course, it's just not about police. There's a role for community, and we'll continue those community-engaged partnerships and collaboration. So I'm looking forward to that. I too will, and I have not had any specific comments on any pending matter, have not. In respect to process, there are two complaints related to the Boston Square incident. One to the Office of Public Accountability, Oversight of Public Accountability, and the other to the Internal Affairs. So I will allow those matters to proceed. Relative to the question on short-term rental, there is a lot of legislation that is being proposed around that. We have a legislative committee on the 29th around local control, local rights and preemption, and so we'll talk more about that and what our position and posture will be moving forward. I do want to say real briefly, and I too have not. I had a lot of comment around the reorganization of fiscal service in the comptroller's office, because we reorganize in the city quite often in terms of making changes in departments, which is our management prerogative. But this one, I do think merits just a little bit discussion, and I don't want to take a whole lot of time, but I do want to say a couple things. One, I want to make sure we have fidelity to the charter, and I appreciate the city attorney, and the CFO ensuring that. I will always be respectful of that, respectful of the role of the comptroller, but I do want to make sure it's clarified, because there was a reference earlier to spending. I take very seriously those allegations of wrongdoing and my professional integrity, and I hold it at a high, high value. And those things that were alleged in that news media report, there were 3 specific things. I want to point out, if we were a team, we'd be a losing team, because based on those 3 allegations, none of them were true. Saying if that's the record, it's 0 for 3. None of them are true. The $500 sponsorship was a sponsorship in 2021, after the governor had just reopened the economy to allow reactivation because of the pandemic shutdown. Businesses were in shambles. We were trying to reactivate our committee, and we agreed to sponsor an event at $500. Now, we have multi-million-dollar projects going on, and we sponsor events all the time in this community. I'll just listed a few. You just talked about it. The Glimpse of Africa event, that's a city sponsorship event. The Giants Award, Urban League, NAACP, and we sponsor that at much higher levels. So that was looked into both administratively as well as by outside authorities, and there was nothing inappropriate that occurred by that. So I take exception with any assertion that something was inappropriate and it had been looked into criminally, and it's almost slanderous. So I take exception to that. The reorganization, again, was based on efficiency. You'll see in the packet our CFO submitted some information highlighting the reasons for it, her observations, her recommendation to me long before I was aware of any other activity that the comptroller alleged about any reports. I wasn't even aware that the comptroller had reported anything to the state police until I read it in the article yesterday. So I was never made aware of that. So I just want to continue to stand on our outstanding staff's work and professionalism. Our city continues to get better at things. We were recognized as one of the top 25 best managed cities in the country. and we recently was acknowledged as one of the best places to work and live by Cities on the Rise. And throughout this entire process, I have been nothing but professional and respectful in this matter, and would ask that those who are asserting such misconduct would reevaluate those comments. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, and that adjourns our meeting. Thank you all.